One morning, any morning to be precise, a couple of G.I. Joes ride into Hollywood, a mecca for all servicemen on leave. Sid is a small boy from a small town. He's impressed by the bigness of the buildings. Steve, a born New Yorker, is impressed, too, by their smallness. But Hollywood's fame is not dependent upon the size of its buildings. It has other charms. See what I mean? Sid does. He may be pint-sized, but he'd make a great commando. What better way to find out what to see and how to see it than to consult the local USO? Or what better way than this to start a busy day with a cup of Java and a sinker? Any man in uniform will tell you that the donut is one of American institutions he's willing to fight for. And this is apt to be a fight if Steve doesn't dunk like a gentleman. Now for a photo to send home. One with special Hollywood touches. This little lady is pretty enough to make any G.I. Joe wax enthusiastic, and I do mean wax. Of course, an ersatz Hedy Lamarr lacks vitamins when compared with a real article, but on the other hand, few servicemen who pose here seem to have much interest afterward in songs about paper dolls. Our boy Sid is no exception. Grauman's Chinese Theater, with its famous forecourt, rates as a must on every visitor's sightseeing tour. Here, among the footprints and signatures of many other favorite stars, they find those of Joe E. Brown. That's right, Sid. Try 'em on for size. Everyone does. You may be able to wear the same gloves, but can you match those lip prints? Since they're Joe E. Brown's, you're tackling a mighty big job. The next port of call is the Brown Derby. Let's go in and meet people. The Derby is famous for the cartoons of stars which line its walls and the excellent food which lines Hollywood stars. Our boys meet their dates, Anita Louise and Ann Savage. Here's salt in your eye. Excuse her, Sid. She's left-handed. By the way, Sid, how are you going to prove your story when you tell the boys in camp about this? You better start getting autographs. Careful now, don't let the head waiter see you snitch that napkin. And don't let Steve's kidding bother you either. It's your day to howl, and here's something worth howling about. An autograph like this is worth a dozen pin-up pictures, particularly when the owner of the lips is as pretty as Anita Louise, and you've had lunch with her in person. What's the matter, soldier? Daydreaming? Luncheon over, our two G.I. Joes join with other servicemen and pay a visit to the home of Jimmy and Lucille Gleason, where it's always open house for any man who wears one of Uncle Sam's shoot suits. Here's Jimmy himself, anxious to extend a welcome. His son Russell's in the Army, too. And here's Lucille, the other half of the famous Gleason team. Wonder if he looted that head waiter. He did. And the Brown Derby is now short one napkin as another movie fan shoulders the job of collecting autographs. Your turn, Jimmy. It looks like that linen bib of Sid's will be a who's who of Hollywood before the day is over. And if you'll pardon the pun, it should be a nice souvenir to chin over when G.I. Joe's in the South Pacific en route to Tokyo. Jimmy would be blacklisted by the Chamber of Commerce if he didn't call attention to the orange tree in his own backyard. One of the highlights of every Hollywood leave is a studio tour, although it's doubtful that our would-be commando Sid is learning very much about picture-making technique. He's too interested in the guide, a rapidly skyrocketing young actress named Kay Dowd. Hey, look, little man, you're not a movie star. Al Jolson, who, like most of the screen stars, has worked overtime entertaining servicemen, takes time out for a chat with Sid and Steve. Autograph? Certainly. But wait, it looks like Al is a connoisseur of lip prints himself. Sorry, folks. We intended this reel as a record of G.I. Joe's visit to Hollywood. If these Romeos can't restrain their ardor, we'll have to retitle this picture The Kiss and present it as a heavy romance. Speaking of romance, it's high time to give this reel another infusion of glamour. And here's just the siren to turn the trick, Judy Canova. Be sure to get her autograph, Sid, for few screen stars have done more than this little hillbilly comedienne to bring you boys needed entertainment. What, no pencil? But don't give up. Maybe you can find a bottle of ink. These Hollywood property men think of everything. And don't bother about a pen either, for Judy's the kind of a girl who knows how to rise to emergencies. See what I mean? There you are, a hand-painted autograph. And let this be a lesson to you ladies with bobbed hair. Could you have solved that problem? On a nearby set, Steve and Sid meet Lee Bowman. And don't ask where Steve found that missing pencil. He probably had it all the time, but was too chivalrous to spoil Judy's big scene. I doubt if there's a serviceman in the armed forces who doesn't know Kay Kaiser, for he and his band have carried good cheer to most of the training camps. Here we go again. Imagine Kay Kaiser turning out to be a Casanova. If Sid isn't careful, those lip prints are going to be worn out before he can get them back to camp. Better be smart, soldier, and beat a retreat. Every actor in this studio seems to fancy himself as a great lover. Next is a visit to the broadcasting studios of NBC, where the new People Are Funny show is about to go on the air and guarantee you a full quota of laughs.
What did poor old Marie do when she got too old to race, Corporal?
Well, poor old Marie got sag-backed, and then I had to hitch her to the milk wagon.
Taking the morning route, huh?
That's right.
What does Marie like to eat best?
Well, I tried to fatten her up on some hot bran mash, but she stuck her whole head right in the bucket.
Did you ever eat too much?
Once, I think, she got away and got into the cornfield and ate about 4 bushels of green corn, and I thought I was going to have to shoot her that day.
Well, now, there goes the bell. You've made a wonderful speech. Perhaps you've said enough, and you can reach forward and give your old pal a pat on the nose. Will you do that? Wonderful, funny horses. Your lifelong pal is the leading lady of Ken Murray's Blackouts Review, Marie Wilson. Say hello, will you?
How do you do?
Oh, gee, well, of all the good sports that I show, you two are the tops, huh?
I just wondered, are you disappointed I'm not a horse?
Are you kidding?
Now, as the lights flash on, let's go for a whirlwind tour of some of the famous nightclubs where Hollywood stars play and pay. Here's the Palladium, where you can always find one of America's greatest dance bands. Want to dance? Okay, soldiers. Here's beautiful Marguerite Chapman to introduce Steve to Hal McIntyre, the man who leads the band. You won't catch that pal of yours letting any grass grow under his GI shoes. Get in the groove, Steve. With a girl like that and music made to order, what are you waiting for? It's been a busy day, and the USO dormitory should seem attractive. I said the dormitory, Steve. If you've enjoyed your visit in Hollywood, it's mutual.